Alright, so I'm a little upset that I have to wait a long time for the next issue of the comics. So this video today is going to be the top 10 worst TV characters in The Walking Dead. Starting off with number 10 is Sasha. Sasha is Tyrese's sister, and she's not really a good character in my opinion. She hasn't really done much to the show, and she's been promoted to a season regular. Now, whether that means we're going to see her a lot more in season 4 and she'll have a bigger role, I'm not sure if she'll have a huge role in the group. She hasn't really done anything so far, and because she's really just been a background character, I'm putting her at number 10. Number 9 is going to be Randall. Randall, I felt, was just kind of a pathetic character. Every time he was on screen, it was just him complaining. And all that they really did with Randall was just show Rick and Shane being mean to him. That's all it really was. The entire time he was on screen and present in the show, he was, they were contemplating killing him, and then they never even made a decision, and finally it just turned out that Shane went in and just broke his neck. So Randall, to me, I felt was kind of a bad character because he didn't really do anything aside from stay tied in the barn for a long time. Number 8 is going to be Ben. Ben was one of the people with Tyrese, Sasha, Alan, and Donna. Ben I didn't like so much. He didn't really do anything on his own, and the only time we really saw him was when he stepped in front of the governor on accident and was shot by Merle. I feel that this was kind of a pathetic death. Like, all he did was, stop the killing of a major character. So I think that while it may be good for the governor, it's definitely not good for Rick's group and everyone in there. So because Ben didn't really do anything except mess up something, he's number 8. Number 7 is Tony from Dave and Tony's group. Tony didn't really do anything aside from peeing on the floor in the bar. Tony was the fat one. I felt that Tony was just kind of there as someone that Rick got to kill and just basically further his character with showing him how he can actually be a ruthless person. Since Tony didn't do anything at all aside from get shot while he was, just waiting around, I think he's a pretty pathetic character. Number 6 is Dave. Dave is in the same boat kind of as Tony, except his attempts at negotiating with Rick were pretty bad. I think he should have, all that really happened with him was he argued with Rick a lot, and then tried to pull a gun on him and got shot in the head. It wasn't really it was a great scene in my opinion, because it showed Rick actually killing another human being, and that was the first time we actually got something like that. But it was a good scene for Rick. It wasn't a good scene for Dave, because all he did was walk into the bar, ask Rick a bunch of questions about where they're hiding, and when Rick refused to say anything, just tried to pull a gun on him and got shot in the head. So I felt that he was pretty pathetic. Number 5 is going to be Andrew. Andrew, I didn't like him that much. I didn't like Andrew that much. All he did was get angry at the group and then try and attack and set the prison walkers off and cause the death of T-Dog and Lori. So he, in a really cowardly way, killed those two people. T-Dog I especially liked. He was he was a good character. And Lori not so much. But Andrew I felt he was kind of pathetic because when he comes back in and asks Oscar to help him, Oscar just shoots him in the head. So, a lot of these people on the list, you'll notice that they have pretty pathetic deaths, or they're still alive and hasn't done much. Andrew, I think, fits into these, kind of pathetic death boat. Number 3 is going to be Jacqui. Jacqui was the woman number 4 is going to be Jacqui. Jacqui was the woman who at the very beginning of the series stays in the CDC with Andrea. Now, what I found kind of funny and why I put her on this list so high is everyone's upset about Andrea staying. Aside from T Dog being like, oh, okay, no one cares about her. She hasn't done anything at all. Dale stays behind to try and convince Andrea to go with him. And then they just ignore her completely. She's just sitting there by herself, about to kill herself, and Dale doesn't care. Andrea doesn't care. And eventually, when Andrea and Dale leave, she just stays there, and no one seems to care. It's pretty funny, I think, that a character like her, no one cares about her, and that's why she's number 4. Number 3 is going to be the girl with the bow in Woodbury. I think her name is Laura, I believe. I'm not sure. They never actually say her name in the TV show. She only makes about 2 appearances. One of them is she's shooting a bow at a walker from about like 10 yards away, and she misses like 3 times before Andrea just walks down and stabs the walker in the head. And she was, bragging the entire time about being like an Olympic level archer. And, well, she couldn't do anything. It was kind of funny seeing how pathetic she was and how terrible at surviving she was. If she had gotten into a confrontation situation with another human being, she wouldn't be able to do anything. She'd fire a bow, hit the ground right in front of her, and then die. And that's what happens. That's when she dies later on. Someone from Rick's group shoots her, and then she dies. It's just that. She just sort of falls over dead. No character development on it at all at her part. Really, really stupid character. So that's why she's number 3. Number 2 is going to be Lori. I was debating about putting Lori at number 1, but I feel like Lori didn't have bad intentions with what she was doing. She wasn't trying to mess everything up. However, she did mess everything up. She caused the huge rift between Shane and Rick, which leads to Randall's death, leads to Shane's death, and the farm getting overrun, which then in turn leads to Jimmy's death and Patricia's death, and them having to abandon the farm, and then later on her own death when she got pregnant from Shane. So I think that Lori caused a ton of problems for the group and did so much terrible stuff. But she didn't do it on purpose. So I have to give her credit and not put her at number 1. When choosing number 1, I wanted to choose a character that not only was he pathetic, but was also sort of mean and cruel intentioned. Sort of like the governor, but nowhere near as able. So that's why number 1 is Ed. Ed, I found, was the kind of character who walked around being very arrogant while not being able to back it up at all. He sort of caused trouble when they were having the campfire that one night, and then he was a terrible person too. Like, it's understandable when you have to do violent things in situations like that to survive, but he would just be hitting his own wife and child. That's not surviving, that's cowardly. And so when someone like that is doing things like that, and when they get into an actual confrontation and they can't do anything, it shows to me that they're a terrible person. When Shane came over, it wasn't a fight. It was just him throwing Ed to the ground and beating his face in. It was really funny. That's one of my favorite scenes in the entire show, because it's good to see a character like Ed get what's coming to him. A character like him who can't do anything at all aside from being a complete asshole to his family. And then his death scene was hilarious too, because everyone's having a good time at like their fish fry, and then he's just sitting alone in a tent, hears a noise outside, steps out and starts complaining about it. One walker pushes him to the ground, rips his throat out, feeding frenzy on top of him. The only thing he was good for was developing Carol's character a little when she was like hitting him in the head after he was dead with the pickaxe, and also developing Shane's character when he went into like sort of a mad state and beat him senseless. So all Ed really did was be the punching bag for the group. And a character like that, I think, is going to be the worst character. However, still probably one of the funniest characters, but not funny in a good way. So, if you have any issues with this, if you want to like, ask my opinions about other things, if you want to leave a comment about a future video you'd like me to do, be sure to do that. And thanks for watching.